Today I want to share with you how to make sourdough sandwich bread. This is one of my all-time favorite recipes to make, and you can find the full printable recipe on my blog at moonandmagnolia.com. This recipe does not require any fancy techniques or any real bread skills, so it's great for beginners. In the bowl of my stand mixer, I am weighing the ingredients with a digital scale. Now, I have both the grams and the cup measurements on my website, but I prefer weighing them because one, it's more precise and repeatable, but more than that, when you're done, you have one dirty bowl and that is it. So cleanup is really simple. I'm weighing out 58 grams of softened butter, 21 grams of honey, 10 grams of salt, 113 grams of active or inactive sourdough starter. I'll talk about starter in a second. 258 grams of water and 520 grams of all-purpose flour. When I first learned to bake bread, I was taught that precision is the most important thing when it comes to your measurements or weight, but I have found over the years that it is okay if it's off a little bit. So if you feel intimidated by weighing your ingredients or having precise measurements, don't worry about it. Close to what the recipe calls for works just fine. Making bread is a much more forgiving process than what I think a lot of people feel it is. So just get close to the measurements and I promise you it will be okay. And then I'm mixing this for about 10 minutes. So I like to start on a slow speed just to get the ingredients combined. And once they're combined and shaggy, I bump the speed up to medium and mix for about 10 minutes in my stand mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer, you could do this by hand, but it will be pretty intense. The other thing I should note about stand mixers is that KitchenAid did change their recommendations for how to use their product for kneading dough. So I would just check that out and make sure you're aware of their recommendations for your mixer before you put yours to the test. I'm mixing this until the dough is elastic and smooth and passes the window pane test. If you're not sure what the window pane test is, I'll leave a link for my tutorial about that in the description box below. While we wait for that to mix, let's talk about starter for a second. So the starter in this recipe can be active or inactive. Active meaning that it's been fed within the last 4 to 12 hours, or inactive meaning that it's been fed within the last week or so. The difference is if you use inactive starter, it's going to take your dough longer to bulk ferment or to do that first rise. If you use active starter, it will be a little bit faster. So in fact, the dough that I am making here, I actually made with inactive starter, and the bread that you see on my blog, the photos, that was actually made with inactive starter too. So those are totally viable options. So if you're in a hurry, but you just want to get your bread made, just pull your starter out of the fridge as long as it's been fed within a week and get going with your bread recipe. You can see now that the dough is pillowy and soft and smooth, and it is hardly sticking to my hands. There's just one little piece that's stuck there. So that indicates that it is ready for bulk fermentation. So I like to take a little avocado or olive oil and grease a bowl. I use my hand to rub it up on the sides, and then I take the dough and put it in the bowl and just kind of spin it around and make sure that the dough is coated on all sides. This helps prevent any drying out that could occur during the bulk fermentation process. I like to bulk ferment all my dough in my foldable proofing box, but if you don't have one, that's totally fine. Just cover the dough with a damp towel and let it sit out on the counter at room temperature for about 10 to 12 hours. The warmer the conditions, the faster your bulk fermentation will be. So you're looking for it to be about double in size and doming on the top. For me, using a proofing box, this took about 8 hours, and I had to switch bowls. I needed that glass bowl with the lid for something else, so you see a different bowl here. But about 8 hours later, I am now turning this out onto a clean counter and using my hands to gently shape it into like a rectangle-ish sort of shape. There are a lot of fancy shaping techniques out there for sandwich bread, but I like to keep things really simple. And if you're a beginner, I think you should too. So I just simply roll it up short end to short end. You can see I pull it back and then roll it forward a little bit just to create some tension in the dough and make sure that that roll is nice and tight. Then I turn the dough over and pinch the seam closed a little bit. And then what I like to do is take those other ends and fold them toward the seam side and then pinch everything together. Then butter a loaf pan and place your dough right into the loaf pan. And now you have one of two options. If you want bread the same day, let it sit in the loaf pan at room temperature or in a proofing box until it has doubled in size again and is doming over the top of your bread pan. Or 2, you can place it in a plastic bag and store it in the fridge overnight. Cold proofing your dough overnight will create more sour flavor, which I prefer. But more than that, I can't always squeeze in making the dough, bulk fermenting, shaping, and doing a second rise in one day. So it's really a matter of preference and what works for your schedule. Either will work just fine. But what's most important is that before you bake, whether it's the same day or the day after, you need to make sure that that shaped dough in the pan gets a second rise, which usually takes about 2 to 3 hours. So you can see here that this is doubled in size, it's doming again on the top, and it's ready to bake at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 45 minutes. Most bread is done when it reaches an internal temperature of 190 degrees Fahrenheit, but I found that enriched doughs like this need to be closer to 200 or 205 to really be done. I let this cool completely to room temperature on a wire cooling rack, and when it is room temperature, it's time to slice and check out your beautiful sourdough sandwich bread. This one turned out really beautiful. The crumb of the internal texture of the bread will be different depending on your starter, depending on if you make it same day or next day, how long you let it bulk ferment and the second rise. But those are the details that you can work out day to day and finesse as you get more practice making homemade sourdough sandwich bread. The biggest hurdle of this recipe is making sure you don't eat the whole loaf in one day. If you need this recipe, be sure to check out the description box below. I will also add the link for my free simple guide to making and using sourdough starter ebook. It is 30+ pages of how to make starter, how to make your first loaf of bread, and discard recipes and more. So be sure to check that out. And I'll see you guys next time.